Alrighty, what is Crackalacking, everybody? Welcome back. It's another Wednesday, and that means it's the Shooting the Wood podcast. Welcome back to the show. We got the audio on, we got the video on. Everything's doing awesome. We're gonna have an awesome show today. We're gonna be talking about one of probably my all-time dream unicorn guns, next to say like a honey badger. If you are a Call of Duty fan, this episode will stimulate the tism in you because we are going to be talking about rifles that we know and love, and especially if you're of my generation, you've probably done many times, and it's a dream gun to shoot. But for those who are new to the show, my name is Joe. This is Shooting Gallery. Welcome. We talk about guns. We talk about gun industry stuff. We talk about gun building. You name it. We got Hot Dog 990 out in the live chat. What is going on? We got Hair Girl 95 out there. Hello, hello. I'm going to be patrolling the live chat as much as possible tonight. So if you have any questions for our guest, I will be scouring the live chat, making sure I don't miss anything. But before we get into the conversation, we're going to thank one of the wonderful sponsors of the Shooting the Woods podcast.
Now let me ask you guys a question. Are you a big guy? Are you a fat tack guy? I'm a fat tack guy. Guys, fattack.com is your one-stop shop for big boy clothing. It doesn't matter. You don't got to be a big boy, but they have the best t-shirt designs. It's our exclusive merch shop, so you can get our logo t-shirt, the Tactical Man t-shirt, hats, tank tops, cell phone cases, you name it. We got a bunch of merch over there. But also, if you're looking to get good quality holsters, the Fat Tack holster, they have a premium and standard, very quick ship options. They also have medical gear, body armor. They offer Goon Beam over there for your flashlights. They have everything you possibly can think of. Head over to fattack.com. There's going to be a link in the description. Thank you so much for sponsoring today's podcast.
All right, excuse me. All right, guys, please do me a favor and check out fattack.com. There are our merch shop. It's your one-stop shop. If you're a big boy like me, I carry the Fat Tack standard holster. This is my PSA dagger in the standard with the ever popular M81 camo. Check them out, and they will hook you up. All right, now let's get into the discussion at hand. So little backstory. I found this company through a Truth About Guns article as I was scouring Instagram. It popped up, read the article, and again, it talks about one of my all-time favorite HK firearms, one that many people are always clamoring to try. I've never actually shot one. I've shot a SL8, which is the closest I will ever shoot to one of these, and I'm telling you right now, an SLA doesn't hold a candle to this stuff. Guys, we're going to be talking with S5 Tactical today, and we have Bo. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you coming on. You're going to be, for many people that are of my generation, we're going to be like, oh man, the G36 is so awesome. That's kind of how like we run our lives. But I want to know a little bit more about S5 Tactical. Why don't you go ahead and explain who you are and what are you to the company?
All right. Well, I'm the owner of the company.
All right. Awesome.
So if you have any questions, it stops at me, right?
I love it. I love it.
So I'm an injection molder by trade. I have been all my life. Actually, that's my primary business is custom injection molding. That's how I got into this. Kind of backstory into injection molding is company was started by my grandfather when I was 1 year old. He ran it for 20 years. My father ran it for 27. I've ran it for about 7 now. So coming up on 53 years in business, plastic experience. We started molding firearms and stuff, and got our FFL, started molding, and that's kind of how we wandered into this.
Okay. All right. So you family business, obviously. Where does the name S5 Tactical come
from? My last name starts with S, and there's 5 of us in the family.
You know what? That's straight and to the point. I love that. Awesome. Perfect. Because that's honestly the genesis of how I started this channel. I sat down with a friend of mine that I started the channel with, and I was like, all right, let's come up with something cool. Oh, we can do this. And then the podcast was like, oh, we all start. There's no like that's like actually pretty creative. So I like that. All right.
Yeah, so we went through. It took forever. We went through 100 names trying to. What's this? What's this? I'm like, most of them surprised were taken by an FFL somewhere. It's a lot.
You put tactical in an FFL scope, and you're going to get thousands upon thousands.
Thousands. Oh yeah.
Um,
And then said, you know what's the most important thing? You know, it's family. Let's name it after us.
awesome. I love that. So you're in Mesa, Arizona. Now,
Yes, sir.
so did you have, like, when you started doing the injection molded for these clones? Did you already have like an affinity for like HK designs? Where you have like prior military service at all? Where you had experience with some type of HK, or you're like, you know what, this is a void in the market. This is what I kind of want to focus
Yeah, it's not the answer you want, but the answer is no.
on. Oh, this is awesome. I love it. All right, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
No, you know, we grew up, always had guns around, but mostly, you know, shotguns, hunting rifles. That was never, I'm a big sporting rifle guy. We had them around. Obviously, I never had a problem with it, but that wasn't really my area of focus, you know, just shooting things. Um, I don't have military background. My dad's a Marine. My brother-in-law is a Marine. My other brother-in-law is a Marine. So that's always kind of been around. Um, you know, I just got out of high school. I went straight to work making plastic. That was my deal. Um, so very familiar with that community, very involved in that community, but myself, no. Um, Kind of how we got into this was Tommyville was making these receivers using these same tools, actually, the same molds. He was using them. Had a molder in Arkansas, was giving them some problems. So um, they want to move the molds to Arizona, where we could kind of keep a better eye on them. And they found me. Said, "Hey, do you have a problem making firearms?" No. You know, so again, FFL. I started, you know, serializing these, making these, and really we started making them for deaf guns.
Okay.
So between the time that Tommy moved them here, he decided to kind of just get out of it entirely. Deaf Guns said, "Hey, we want to sell these," so they sold them for about, it was almost a year. Um, you know, sold them, and then kind of when you know, Def Guns was starting to move on, they came to me and said, "Hey, you're already molding these. You want to, you know, sell them?" So I started S5 in February of this year, and um, we've been selling UMPs and G36s and having a great time.
Awesome,
But,
awesome. So
but that's how I got into the firearms, was really through injection molding.
okay, that's cool. So now let's kind of get into it. We're going to start off with the G36 because that is more of my expertise. I do appreciate the UMP. I've handled some of the banned stuff that came in with that really dumb thumbhole stock, which is an abomination. But they're cool. I mean, yes, the UMP was designed in the '90s to take over the MP5, but then people are like, we still like MP5s, but it's a unique gun. And me being kind of I would consider my age bracket to be a millennial, I guess. I know of the G36 through Call of Duty. That's my
Sure.
age. That's what I know it of. But me getting into firearms and me going down the gunsmithing path, I always appreciated the G36 because it wasn't like your typical AR-15 or a SCAR, or it was something completely different. And everybody that shoots them, they're like, it's completely different. And there are some drawbacks that I want to get into in your opinion of it, but first and foremost, explain what parts are actually injection molded on your, especially your G36 receiver. So now you guys sell G36 receivers as just the strip receiver, and you sell complete rifles here. All right, so that is the
That
strip
guy right there.
receiver.
Yeah, that straight receiver there. Um, yeah, so that's the main thing we're molding here.
Okay.
Actually, it is what we're molding here. The trend and everything is molded, encased in, it's glass fiber reinforced nylon is the material. So
Okay.
I mean, super strong. You can bounce them off the ground, and it's not going to hurt it. Don't recommend you do that. But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't recommend
but
that.
yeah, I was like, hey, I bounced off the floor, and you know, S5 said it was fine.
Oh man.
Okay. There's always that guy. But
Oh,
you
that
know,
was it.
it's going to bounce, and you're going to be fine. You know, it's. Uh, but anyway, so that, you know, everything's encased in there. You know, serial numbers molded in, trunnion is molded in, the rails they're all molded in. What's if you're interested in injectional, what's fascinating about this is everywhere in here where there's no plastic, in that mold there's steel.
That's
So
what I was getting. So, from my background, I'm used to CNC machines and stuff where you have to make the actual molds to whatever part. Now, there is a
mhm.
lot of empty space in a G36 receiver. So, now are you going through like a CAD file and literally having to be like, okay, I need this part to kind of come up here? So, it's literally just like almost like a coffin, almost, and then the plastic and nylon go in and it fills it out.
Yeah, which you have the cavity, so it's in the tool, sits this way, and the mold splits right down the middle.
Okay. Okay.
So as it opens up, the steel gets out of the way, but you actually have to have hydraulic slides moving in
Okay.
this direction, top direction, and out the bottom. And there's some angle pins in here that you have to get out of the way, and different things. There's slides. So as that mold opens up, there's 7 different pieces of metal moving like a clamshell to release the plastic out of the part.
Now, is that why a lot of say companies stateside haven't produced a Americanized clone? Because for years this is like one, especially the G36. I can imagine with the UMP as well. Is that why it's so hard because there's a lot of moving pieces and it's just I'm guessing it's a lot of knowledge just knowing how to injection mold the receiver itself.
Yeah, and it's a really big investment. The more moving parts you have in anything, the more
Yep.
expensive it gets.
Okay. All right. So if like say
So it's a really big investment. You got to make sure you're going to sell enough G36s to pay for that.
I see the HK crowd. I have a feeling that you can do pretty well as as long as everything's like two spec. So
Yeah,
okay, so you get
yeah, no, they're great. Yeah.
the receiver, and then how do you source the parts? Because my two big questions are HK historically doesn't really release a lot of parts kits. I've seen them come on the market, and you're able to actually sell these rifles and the pistol configuration. So I believe you go to 12.5 for the pistol and then 16 obviously for the rifle. So you'd have the G36K and the G36 rifle. How do you get the
Mhm.
parts? Because I always have seen the parts kits around and they are just astronomical, but you're running both these guns at under 2 grand, which that is
Mm.
phenomenal for someone who, me, I work paycheck to paycheck, but that's attainable in certain aspects because I've seen G36 clones go for like four, five, $6,000. So that's what
Yeah,
is it the part? Do you have a surplus of parts? Is that how you get them to that price?
yeah. I work with GSG9 for the
Okay.
parts kits, so
Okay.
they hooked me up with that, and that's how we can keep that cost down.
Okay. All right. So and then they get it from wherever. I don't know. I've
Yeah, they have
actually
their own tool.
okay.
Yeah, they have their own tools where they actually own that tool that I mold. I license it from them, and then have my name on it and everything. But the furniture and everything, and the barrels and all that, they have manufacturers that make that for them,
Okay.
and then so they and some through HK parts and through me and whatnot.
I will say the only drawback, or the only two drawbacks to G36 is that I see is that one, their magazines. I'm just throwing this out there. HK parts, they got to come down with these mags. $120 for clear mags is like, what's going? It's like if I was going to pay that much for a mag, I might as well just buy an MPX for $75 magazines. But
Right.
that's just me being a cheap ass. But again, with a
No, that's
G30,
expensive. You're gonna be a cheap ass. That's expensive.
yeah, but the good thing is, how would it now for magazine compatibility? Is it kind of like with other receivers where can you get magwell extensions to take Stanag mags on your SG36?
You can swap out the magwell with an adapter and use
Okay.
like AR. Yeah, I believe it's AR magazine. Um, Magpul makes the magazines also. They're like
Yep.
$25.
Yeah, I saw those. So okay, so you're you're gearing towards some a rifle that again a lot of people are really invested in, and again especially with the younger, I would say with my generation, that 25 to 35 age bracket, that the G36 is probably one of the more favorited rifles out of the HK collection. Now and this is not why would when people say, oh, is that like an SL8, can you explain the difference between an SL8 and a G36?
Yeah, well, the SL8 was HK's attempt to make a consumer version, civilian version of the G36. It's really all it is. Um, the actual the difference. Well, they look different.
Yeah.
They're a whole different rifle.
Yeah.
They really
So
are. But that's what the attempt was to say, okay, let's make a legal version of G36. It's the SL8. It's not just the same. I mean, they're both 5.56, but it's not the same thing. So that's why the clones are popular.
yeah. So I do want to explain to people that might be new to firearms and getting into rifles. I try to explain this for like newbies that don't understand. For those who aren't understanding this, HK is very well known for not like kind of giving people the the true rifles. Um, and they don't. I believe it's a lot of it's import restrictions. That's why they could never bring
Most of it is, yeah.
most of it. And then there's the 922R compliance. So that leads me into my second big question. For your G36 rifles, especially with the pistol version, since you're making all this in the States, do you have to follow 922R compliance?
The 922, forgive me. I've been at this 6 months. 922, that's a short barrel compliance, right?
Short barrel compliance, where you have to have like X amount of parts that are made in the US for it to be compliant for importation. But since you're building the receivers in house,
Yeah, it's compliant. Yes.
okay. All right. So that's also okay. So that would be good for people that are kind of like, granted, 922R. I'm not saying to break the law, but it's just get the right amount of parts and you'll be fine. We don't need people going to jail over this. But
Yeah, most of these are built out as SPRs. You guys buy just receiver, build them out as SPR. Pay their well, you don't pay the tax stamp anymore. A couple weeks you did, weeks ago you did, but you got to register it as an SPR and you're good to go.
Yep. So as of January, you can fill out your Form 1 and you don't have to pay your $2 tax stamp. Yes, I don't think it should have to even be registered. That's a whole different discussion. But again, getting down to it though, you're providing something which I have to really commend you, Bo, is that you guys are able to provide two firearms that in some aspects, if you find actual real deal rifles, are several $1,000s, and sometimes you have to have SOTs to possess them because if they are short barrel, they have a machine gun pack. So the fact that you're able to do this and give it, because I think that's like like that is so pro American. Like, hey, f that, we're gonna give people what they want. And with the advent of injection molding. Now, what is some of the limitations on the rifles with the injection molded? Because I'm guessing you have to heat this nylon injection plastic up pretty hot to melt it to make sure that it molds properly. There's no defects in the mold. Um,
Mm-hmm.
One of the
About
draw
450 degrees.
Yeah, okay, so it's getting pretty hot. So now
Yeah.
my question is, okay, so you're in Arizona, I'm in Florida. One of the drawbacks to the G36 was that people said that it got so hot that, it kind of varied in accuracy. With
Mm-hmm.
with your process now, do you find that issue where like, okay, the plastic will swell or whatever? Because again, it's like almost like a heat sink issue. Do you,
Mm-hmm.
were you like worried about that going into it? Because again, it's a
No.
kind of niche issue.
No. Yeah. Did I freeze?
Oh yeah, okay. You freeze. You might just got to turn your camera back on. Hold on 1 second here, guys. You're still in the studio. I think you just got to have to. Yeah, you just got to re-enter real quick. I can still hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to figure out it's not moving, but
You might have to just when you're in the Rumble studio, all you got to do is you're gonna see that little camera icon. So you might have to just kind of turn your camera back on. All right. So while he's getting that figured out, we're gonna play another ad, guys. If you have any questions, I see WD Mura out there. What's going on? I have the link to S5 Tactical in the live chat in the description. Check them out. We're gonna continue the conversation, but first, let's hear another word from one of our sponsors.
Guys, Liberty Bell Firearms is the place to go if you're looking for Cerakote applications, stippling, laser engravings, you name it, he can do it. You guys know he did the Kit Kat build, one of the staples here on the channel. He also did this pretty BA Power Ranger, green Power Ranger infused goodness with some laser engraving on it. Perfect Cerakote job. This is our Anderson Big Bore 450 Bushy AR-15 pistol. Guys, check out Liberty Bell Firearms. They are a proud sponsor of this podcast, and they give you guys a discount of 20% off if you use code JOJUICE. No minimum job required. Check them out. A veteran-owned company. Check out Liberty Bell Firearms, and we thank them for sponsoring to this podcast.
Guys, check out Liberty Bell Firearms, your one-stop shop for Cerakote use. This is my 450 Bushmaster big bore build. He did all the Cerakote. Look at that. That looks just straight sexy. And this is clear. We can show clear. There's nothing in the chamber. Check them out. Use code JOJUICE for 20% off. We're still waiting on Bo to come back in. I believe he's probably just going to be rebooting something. But yeah, guys, the fact that we're able to get a clone like this for the amount of money, and we're not going to be knocking any other manufacturers out there, but HK cloning can get expensive. For you to get an SL8 converted to what a G36 is, there's barrel cutting, there's different parts of receivers you got to add. You have to get, even the stocks itself, any parts that it's true HK. You go on hkparts.com, anything for them is you're starting at say $90 to $300 depending on the part, whether it's a handguard or it's a magazine, a stock, a period correct stock. Safety Harbor Firearms is compact entry stock is actually sold on hkparts.com. So if you want to pick that up from there or direct from us, check them out for your MP5s and MP5Ks. Please check them out. So it's so wonderful that we're able to have these clones on the market that a G36, that was my gun that I shot in Call of Duty. That was my favorite gun. There's many people that will say that it's one of the smoothest and like light recoiling 5.56s on the market. So when we get Bo back in here, we're going to ask this. He's probably going to see if he can actually show it. I'm going to make sure everything is all set with him. But again, I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. If you could do me a favor and smash the like button and comment, share this with your friends. That we definitely need the support here. Anyway, but oh yeah, I wanted to show this. If you guys missed this week, we got Bo coming back in. Hold on a second, but we did finish the BRN 1911. Check it out. I'm gonna be shooting it this weekend. Okay, cool. We got you back. Awesome.
I don't know what happened.
Sorry. Dude, it's all good, man. Don't worry about it.
Everything stopped moving.
Hey, don't worry about it. I had this issue a couple weeks ago. We had some internet, and it happens. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so you were just going to explain the whole heat sink issue with it getting too hot. It might be affecting the accuracy of it.
Awesome, because I just did. But that's okay. Yeah, so as the complaint was, after you got a rifle that's had been in service, and you're in a firefight and you blast out 200 rounds, it starts to lose accuracy.
Yep.
My point in that is I wasn't worried about, because you go to the range, are you going to go blast through 7 clips, like just rapid fire, like your life depended on it? Probably not. To guys like you and me, out at the range, we're not just going to just blast out.
You're not mag dumping, and it's very rare for someone to have a G36 compatible
round.
Yeah, it's
so
very... Okay, hold on. You're freezing up a little bit here, but yeah. So there's no issue with the warping of the receivers from what you're telling me. And like I said, the probability of someone having a machine gun registered pack for a G36 is very rare, unless you're an SOT or you have like some special license for a machine gun range or whatnot. All right, cool. You're back. Awesome.
Now I got you.
Yep. Yeah. I hear you, and it looks like your camera came back good. So I'm coming through to you correctly, right? Yeah, coming through a little broken up right now. I can see you moving right now. Trying to just say something real quick. Yeah, you're still having a little bit of issue here. can see you moving. I can hear you moving.
Yeah. 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 You stopped on my end.
All right. All right. All right. I hear.
Today.
All right. Yeah, I hear you perfectly well. Everything's coming through now. So hopefully,
Okay.
the Skynet's going
I
live.
got you now as well.
Yeah, Skynet's going live. All right. So now you're doing direct sale to FFL. Obviously, are you planning on putting these into like a distribution through like Chattanooga or RSR or anything like that? Or right now it's just, hey, we're trying to, you guys just started in January of this year. So do you see that becoming like a, hey, let's get these out to FFLs?
Yeah. Right now, like I said, we're just getting started. I'm definitely open to that. It hasn't really come up, come up yet, but we're definitely open to that.
All right, awesome. So real quick before we move on to the UMP, say I picked up a G36 or the SG36 rifle, and January happens and I want to SPR it. Are we able to send these to you guys and have you do the SPR conversion as long as we send our, Form 1 and our approved tax stamp?
No, you do that through your FFL.
Okay. All right.
Once we send it out to you, then you got it.
Okay. Awesome. What is your warranty like on either of the guns?
Well, according to Gun Broker, it's 10 days, but
Okay.
but no. Well, our procedures, there's two people that build every gun. Myself and a friend of mine who I've known since I was 9 years old. That worked for my grandfather. Works here in the shop. So him and I build them. We'll go out and I'll take them to the range and we test fire every one. We put at least 5 rounds through them. Send those casings with the rifle. Make sure everything's good, and then guys go through the rest of the break-in period and go. We haven't had any problems really at all with anything we built. Usually just stove piping's really been the only problem, and that's usually just it wears in.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
It's really just kind of a fact of it being new. Just G36 has got a kind of a long break-in period. It's usually about 100 rounds, 200 rounds. Some it's one. Some just go, but until you're a little finicky is all. For a couple hundred rounds.
Okay.
Everything kind of wears in, then they just go.
Okay.
So warranty, there's really nothing published. You modify the receiver, then I can't warranty anything. But we're reasonable. You having a problem with it? We want you to be happy with it. We'll help you fix it.
Awesome. That's
figure it out.
The reason I asked that is when I was gunsmithing in gun shops, I was actually the guy that would have to send stuff out to manufacturers, and I was always learning different warranties at different companies. And there's certain warranties that I'm like, all right, dude, come on, just help the guy out and like just cover this for him and make him happy. And some people, I get, depending on what you're buying, and for this, especially with someone spending about $2,000. If something happens, yeah, you want to make the customer happy, and which I can
Sure.
really get behind. All right, so moving to the UMP. So the UMP are their chamber. These are 9mm chambered UMPs, correct?
45.
45 ACP. All right, cool. Because I know there's a couple out there that one's chambered in 49, 45. All right, so same process, I'm guessing, with okay, you got to get the tooling set up, parts availability. It comes through the same distributor that you have.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, exact same setup. Yeah.
All right. So, in terms of stocks, so the UMP, does it have a 1913 pick rail on the back, or is it a specially designed HK stock?
No, it's an HK stock. I've got one of those here too. But
Okay.
Well, G36 actually. Yeah.
Okay.
It's got the folding stock back there. Yeah. So if you want, either have the folding stock or you got to put an adapter on it.
Okay, all right, and you can get, and for those guys who are out there wondering, like, oh, what if I want to put this on there? HK Parts, I kind of is my go-to for people that need like kind of niche stuff. I mean, if you guys, if you need like MP5 stuff, obviously get the compact entry stock from Safety Harbor Firearms. Shameless plug, but again, the UMP, it's one of those things. What is your opinion on the UMP over the MP5? Because again, like I said in the beginning of the show, in the 90s, they came out the UMP to try and replace the MP5 that was made in the 60s, 60s or 70s. And people realized we just kind of went to the MP5. the UMP, kind of the same thing. It's a lightweight. It's a 45 ACP. Now, have you suppressed either? Have you ever tried suppressing either of these rifles and see how they function?
Not personally, no.
Okay.
Guys do it all the time, and they work fine. I haven't personally personal rifles,
Okay. Okay.
but I think I'm losing you again.
No, nope. I got you. I got you.
Oh,
Perfect.
there you go.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, but okay, yeah, but guys run suppressors on both of them all the time. They're a non-issue. They work great.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. It's good.
At best, some guys will mess with rings a little bit, but for the most part, screw it on the end and run it.
Awesome. What are they? So for those who are wondering, are going to probably ask, what are they threaded for? Say the 5.56 and the 45. So I'm guessing 5.56. Is it half by 28?
I actually have half by 28s and 15 by ones. So if somebody wants one in particular, let me know. I'll ship you. Make sure I ship you that one. But I come across both.
Okay, perfect, awesome. Because I know Germany, they got to have that European thread. I'm not a fan of it. Half by 28, industry standard. Everybody, just throwing it out there. And 45, I'm guessing is
yeah. Your purest 15 by 1. That's HK's thread. You can find stuff. You want to suppress it and make life easier, get the half.
So I only have two suppressors. I have a 9 and a 30 cal from Annie Kowick, and I have a half by 20 direct thread on there. So my thing is, okay, just make sure I can at least direct thread it. So all right. So with the UMPs, what do you find that the UMPs are selling less than the G36s, or are they both like people
Yes.
are just clamoring for it?
No, G36 is the big boy of the bunch.
It's the flagship.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Now
it's probably 3-1 easy.
Now, how much how have you seen growth over the since you started in January? Okay, the article dropped from Truth About Guns. Did you debut this at a SHOT Show or an industry show, or just hey, you kind of met some people and this is kind of how you started your your marketing of what you guys make?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, the biggest thing, we started out on Instagram. Started this, put them on Instagram. While my website was being built, I was doing handwritten order forms for the first couple months. The guys on HK Pro, I think inadvertently, but they were a huge help. Yeah, those guys over there, they say, hey, we found this guy, and they told everybody. So appreciate that, guys. Some guys, hey, I don't like the logo, I don't like this or that, but
yeah, okay.
hey,
So
I
I
don't
went
care
through
what you say.
yeah, I went through as I was doing the show prep for this, and I'm like, all right, listen, guys, like it's a logo, like calm down. But the HK crowd and clone crowd in particular is, I would like to consider them like the trap shooters of the gun world. Like they are so particular and they're willing to pounce on anything. I'm not hating on them. I'm just that's my observation. People want to get too into like logos and stuff like. Calm down, dude. Sit down. But
yeah, but hey, just spell my name right. Say what you want. Spell my name right.
I love it. I love it. All right. So okay. So you started on Instagram, which that's awesome because if you really look at how many other influencers or gun companies, holster manufacturers start on Instagram, and now they have this booming business, and you didn't have to go to SHOT Show to promote your stuff. Do you plan on doing any trade shows or anything like that coming up, or is it just hey, this is the first 6 months of us being open? Let's kind of see where this goes from.
Yeah, I'm looking at going to SHOT Show in January, mostly not as an exhibitor, just kind of to go walk the show.
Yep.
Meet guys and kind of get our name out there and talk to people.
Okay.
Or say, with HK Pro, HK Parts has been a huge help too. They link to my site for parts kit. Look for a receiver. They link my site.
Okay.
So those guys have been great. Also,
All
they're
right.
great to work with.
Awesome.
But
That's good to hear.
yeah, so we'll be at SHOT Show, but as be walking the show, not exhibiting yet.
Yeah, who needs to be paying almost 50 grand for a small 10x10 booth? It is what it is. But that's cool though. You're able to. You started on Instagram, and you're catering to a crowd that for guns that people have been clamoring for. Now, kind of moving forward, you have the G36K model in the pistol form. You have the rifle. Is there a reason why you didn't get a G36C model, which would be the shortest barrel configuration? Is it just because parts availability, or it's just, hey, let's start off with this model, and just go from there and see where it goes?
Yeah, it was to start off with these two models. HK Parts, has their C kit. So you get those guys got to eat too. So they help me sell the receiver, they sell their kit, and we're both happy. And
Okay.
we can get G36 and the people that want them. So it's kind of that symbiosis and harmony and all that's kind of really the reason why.
Yeah.
They got their kits, they do a great job with it, and so let them sell it.
So say I got a G36C parts kit, I can actually use that same parts kit on your receiver.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. That's awesome, because again,
yeah. Actually, you buy that site and you're looking for a receiver to link to our
Okay.
receiver, and you got parts come from two places, but they'll just slap together in 20 minutes and off you go.
Awesome. And that's the good thing. That's why I like G36 and UMPs, is for those who are out there in the builder community, building any HK rifle, especially the roller locks. I'm not a welder. I cannot weld to save my life. So if I'm able to kind of assemble it and not have to, I'm okay. I might have to, push a pin in here with a punch and hammer or whatever. That's all well and good. I'm not welding. I can TIG weld very mildly. I can't do a full blown build, and that's one of the things I always wondered why. Now that I know, obviously, getting into injection molding is very expensive. But as a builder, we do builds here on the channel of all different types. ARs, it's like Legos, Glocks. You're building Legos. We just built this 1911 here from Big Thanks to Brownhouse for shipping the receiver. That is, I would say, building where you're dealing with tolerance and stuff like that. HKs, that is like the next step up, where if you don't know how to weld, it's going to be a hell of a process. But with the G36, where it's kind of plug and play, now that I know, again, yeah, the receivers are going to be really expensive to get injection molded and do it properly. And now you guys have been injection molding for, you said, what, 50 years?
53.
50. Okay, so 53 years injection molded. So you guys know what you're doing. You're not just some like, oh, we learned how to do this on a YouTube video. We're making HK receivers. You guys have been doing this for so long that you've perfected the process. You're not going to get, the you're not going to have blemishes where it's like, I don't know. But the G36 and the UMP, they kind of go together, just kind of plug and play. You don't need to have all these expensive tools. So that's why that was what I always kind of felt bad about as a builder part of the Second Amendment community, is that you can build these on your kitchen table if you have the right gunsmithing tools and stuff like that. You don't need all this expensive equipment, and it's just sad that now, and it's good now with you guys making both receivers, that it actually gives that opportunity to people where they can buy a parts kit, buy your receiver, and they can have their dream rifle. So
yeah.
Now, how many do you? And now they're I'm gonna say original HK mags, but like for the magazines that you guys ship with, are you shipping them with 1, 2 mags? What should people expect?
I'm shipping with one Magpul.
Okay, awesome, cool. Because again, we just discussed this. G36 mags, they're a little bit expensive, and someone needs to talk to them about that, but
yeah.
and I look at it too, and like I might seem like I'm like, oh man, they're $120. Relax, dude. It's like, no, because again, I look at it from the consumer, where the guy's working a entry level job, but he wants to enjoy the Second Amendment. He wants to enjoy collecting guns and stuff like that. If the magazines are expensive, it might be a deterrent. But if, again, you guys are shipping with Magpul, you can get Magpul mags very inexpensively, and you're able to feed it and do all that good stuff with it. Now, would you say these guns, have you been able to run them on a machine gun lower pack or no?
You can modify things to do that. Yeah.
As long, again,
modify the slide, and there's some little safety things in the receiver you got to file down, but it's really not that big of a deal.
Okay, so now legal brain here. We're not telling you how to do it, but especially if you have an SOT and you're all properly licensed, Just saying, check that out. Make sure you follow all your local laws. Because I'm thinking,
We're
okay,
saying you can do it. We're not saying you should.
yeah. I mean, hey, I'm all for it. Like America, let's go. We want to have let's make machine guns great again. But at the same time, I'm not going to prison for 25 years and paying $250 in fines. No one's paying my bills. So
Right.
uh, now going forward, you said, okay, these parts kits, especially with the G36 and UMPs. What other guns, especially in the HK lineup? Because my first question is the XM8. The XM8 and the G36? They're not that far off from differences, but I'm guessing the XM8 has a lot more injection molding that you got to go through. Is that something you are looking into? Because I know that's kind of a very niche HK rifle that was only designed for a specific military contract. And for people who don't know what the XM8 is, the best way to explain it, go on YouTube, search it. I know Military Arms Channel has a video on his XM8 clone. You can see it looks like a G36, but you dropped it in the movie Starship Troopers, and it looks all like space gun of a G36.
Good way to
But
put it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's the
really
best
cool.
way. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's a love it or hate it rifle too. People either think that's the greatest thing they've ever seen, or they think it's like, if I wanted a squirt gun, I'd buy one. Um, yeah, I kind of had somewhat looked into it. It'd be a lot of tooling, and I figured the tooling for that would be between, like, you know somewhere around $750,000, like $750,000. By the time you built the tool for the receiver, the furniture, the carry handle, all that stuff, you're going to need a whole bunch of tooling. So 600, $750,000. So you need to make sure you're going to sell a whole lot of those things to justify
yeah. Because if
that cost.
you're
That
spending that much on the machines and tooling, that rifle, then you add in the parts to make it a complete rifle or pistol or whatever. That's why these guns are so expensive. But at the same time, and people don't ever take that into effect, that I, I
Mhm.
I'm so new to injection molding in like that tooling. I'm thinking it's like a Herco CNC machine. So I'm like, all right, it's about this much. Yeah, okay, I understand that. But it's a whole new ball game when it comes to molding plastic. You get twice the amount of molds for it. It's not like you can call China and be like, "Hey, can you overnight me this? I need it done today." It's There's a lot more
Right.
that goes into the molds for all these parts.
Yeah, yeah. You're talking about CNC machine. Yeah, you got CNC that mold, with all that different action on there to make it work properly. So you got very expensive tooling. By the time you get them built, you're gonna have, for that estimate, probably 4 or 5 of them, plus barrels and trigger packs and everything else.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a very expensive gun. And then if you sold, just throwing out numbers for easy math, you sold that gun for $10,000. You still need to make sure you can sell 750 of them.
Oh yeah, of course, just to make your money back from them. Yeah, and
Yeah, just to break even. Um, so $5,000, you need to sell 1,500.
yeah, yeah.
So okay, yeah, you probably could, but um, tell you what, someone wants to pre-order $1,000,000 worth of XM8s, I'm on it.
I like it. Yeah, no, exactly, because you got to make money at it, and this
Yeah.
stuff ain't cheap. So
Right.
into that for one very niche rifle, it's understandable. But the reason I ask, because again, if you've been in the injection molding business for this long, how difficult would it be, and or okay, would you have to get a whole new machine set up? Now, how many injection molding machines are you running right now? Is it just like one, two, and
No, I have 9.
you have nine? Okay, so and I know this is probably not your primary thing. Like, okay, you've been doing the injection molding business for 53 years in your family, but you just started this a year ago. So I'm guessing you have other stuff that you injection mold that's not firearms related.
Yeah, primarily automotive and aerospace components.
Okay, okay. So yeah, so all right, that makes sense. Now,
Household good, bottle caps, a million different things. But my primary industries are aerospace and automotive,
okay,
and now
awesome.
firearms.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Were you are you happy with the reception that you've got so far off the rifles? Because like I said, I've been trying to like look at least for like videos and stuff like that just to get research, and I didn't realize it was just started in January. I thought you were open for at least about a year or so, and I'm just trying to like
Yeah.
trying to find stuff. Is it what is other than that the reception from that community? Have they're like, okay, these guns are actually pretty cool. Like we like the product. Is we're not seeing anything too like crazy here. So like, what's the reception you're getting from the Second Amendment or just gun community in general?
They've been great. Yeah, that's been the funnest part. Um, the guys are just so happy to get them. The worst things I hear are on HK Pro, and it's about logos, which I could care less.
Again, I agree.
Again, kind of harp on that, but I get it. They're passionate. They're HK guys, and they're on there. They want the HK logo, not realize that that's really problematic in itself.
Yeah. So you have it all.
Copyrights and
Yeah, you have it all over your website. This you're not marking this as an HK product. Now
right.
is it kind of like the only reason I know is because for copyrights and stuff like that, especially in Cerakoting, Disney, you cannot put Mickey Mouse on a gun and say, "Oh, look at this," without a lawyer, breathing down your neck. Is HK, I can understand they're very protective of that intellectual property or copyright or whatever. Is that something you had to like go to HK before you started doing all this and be like, "Hey, we want to do this. What do we have to do to make sure you guys don't, we don't, step on your toes. We don't want to like, make any waves." Did you have to like kind of get involved with HK Direct and be like, "Hey, I'm doing this"?
No, because they're not making that in the United States.
Oh, okay, awesome, sweet.
So we're not really stepping on their toes. They don't offer that.
Yeah, and they give us an SLA, which is not a G36. So
No, it's not close.
they're like, "Oh, this is what we'll give you guys," and everyone like, because okay, so I have a friend that bought the SL8 that got released a couple of years, like 5-6 years ago, and he sent it off to Tommy Belt, and I told him like, "All right, dude, listen, you gotta get the barrel chopped because it comes with a 20-inch target barrel. No, that's not cut that down, thread it," and he didn't do that, and I'm like, all right, whatever. He loves it, good for him, but at the same time, it's I want the 16-inch barrel or I want the 12 5-inch barrel. I don't. The only thing that is a aesthetic that I would kind of on both UMP and G36 is your height over bore on the sights. It's a little bit taller than other guns, especially the G36 with that top rail. Most optics you put on there, if it has a tall riser, it's just gonna look goofy. It'll still work and be all set. I would say the closest you would put on there is an EOTech, but good thing is now, have you tried putting like the optics that HK Parts sells on the top rails to make sure that it's compatible with all that stuff?
Yeah, they work great.
Perfect, awesome. Because that was another question I was worried about. Is like, okay, so you're making the injection molds. Okay, how good is it compatible with the stuff that you can get online through HK Parts or Brownells or wherever to get your HK parts? How compatible is it with that to where okay, well, it just kind of clamp right on and go to the range and have a good day. Now that's a good thing that all this stuff is a lot of this stuff is compatible. Um, Now, okay, so say parts in general. So you don't actually sell the parts for the gun. So say, okay, I'm at the range, I blow an extractor. You guys don't manufacture, you don't make the extractors. You got to go third party to get those parts, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to clarify that too for those people that are listening. And if anybody has questions, I'm still looking at the live chat. Thank you all for listening in. We're kind of plugging right through. So you don't the parts you can get pretty easily through third party through like Numbridge
Yeah, HK Parks has got literally every part. Yeah, I don't think there's a part missing.
yeah
Like you can't go source there. They're pretty easy to get.
yeah. All right, so okay, so that you answered a lot of my questions whether it is you're buying the right, because my thought is for people that are like I don't know, should I buy the rifle, but I want it to have the short configuration, because I know for one of the guns is the Chris Vector. It's not an HK design, but a lot of people, for when those things first came out, they bought the rifle version and they're like, oh, I want the short version, and it's a lot more involved to go from a 16-inch barrel to a like say 5-inch barrel. It's not like okay, you can take a chop saw to the barrel and oh, there you go. It's not really that. I don't do that. That's not the way to do it. And I didn't know if you guys did the conversions as long as they sent the Form 1s over and all the stuff is appropriate. What is your opinion? Like, do you see January comes? Are you guys tooling up for both the UMP and G36 clones that you guys produce? Are you tooling up to make sure you have more on the market? Because there's probably going to be an uptick in uh, there's probably going to be an uptick in people buying pistol versions to SPR them. Are you guys tooling to make sure you have more in stock?
Yeah, yeah, we're not gonna run out of stock.
Perfect.
Like I said, I mold them and sell it. I'm not waiting on somebody else to send me receivers or anything like that. I can run out back and just like get some trainees, run out back, and pop out another 100 tomorrow if I needed to.
Oh wow, that's awesome! Because we do have a question. Hot Dog 990. He is a valued member of the show. He watches every week. He says, if a person were to order one of these, what is the wait time? Like, how long from order? How long does it take to get it made and shipped out?
Well, a receiver I can ship same day. I have
Okay.
them in stock. You order in the morning, we'll send you your payment link so you can, you know, pay your tab and we'll ship it on out. I got those ready to go. The rifles, sometimes I have a couple built out waiting. Usually I build them to order, so you order it. Everybody orders Friday night for some reason.
They get paid. That's when they get paid.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and then they're like, hey, it took 3 days to ship it, which was Monday. So what what I'll do is I'll go.
The only reason I'm laughing is because I understand exactly what you're saying is, oh, it takes 3 days to ship it. Yeah, dude, I went home for the weekend. Like, chill.
Yeah, yeah. UPS isn't working, man. I can't. I don't have that kind of pull.
Yeah,
Um,
I hear you on that. Okay, so it takes.
yeah.
It's
So
pretty-
what? But yeah. So lead time. You place the order. We'll build it out. That day we'll go to the range that night and test it. Um, Ship it out the next day. The most it ever takes is maybe 4 days if it's a super busy week. You
Okay.
order on a Monday. We'll build it on Tuesday. Maybe I don't get to the range on Wednesday. Ship it Thursday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's not like
No, it's like
you're not waiting 6 months for it.
no. It's never been more than a week for anybody.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we gotta play one more ad. I got a couple more questions, and I'll get you out of here. So, guys, make sure if you have any more questions, make sure you put them in the live chat or in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get them answered after this. But we'll thank one final sponsor of the Shooting Woods podcast.
Guys, this podcast is proudly sponsored by our friends over at Aegis Gun Care. You've been hearing me say this for years, that Aegis Gun Care is the leader in firearms cleaning applications. You got their cleaner, which is going to be able to take care of some of the most built up carbon you've ever seen. Then you hit it with the lubricant. We call it Joe Juice here. It is the best lube on the planet. It has rust inhibitors in it. It has a lot of great quality. It's going to preserve your firearm and protect your firearm. So if you could do me a favor, head over to aegisguncare.com. You not only can get some amazing cleaning products, but you can actually get brushes, Q-tips, cleaning masks, merchandise, hats, t-shirts, you name it, they're all over there. An American-made business. We love Aegis Gun Care, and we want to thank them for sponsoring today's podcast. Make sure you guys use code JOJUICE for 10% off.
Guys, please make sure you check out Aegis Gun Care. They are the longest standing sponsor of the channel. Use code JOJUICE, 10% off. Get all your cleaning supplies. They are at GOA Goals this weekend, unveiling a new product, and make sure you go show them some love. Tell them I sent you. All right, so one of the final questions I have, I want to know, just because you've been in the injection molding business for this long. Everyone likes to customize their guns with paint. So for the Cerakote applicator, so we are, I'm sponsored by Liberty Bell Firearms. He's a approved Cerakote applicator. Is there going to be an effect on the plastic if you apply the Cerakote? Because on many Cerakotes, you have to oven bake them and make sure that the Cerakote cures. Will that affect any of the receiver or the parts that you guys make?
Do you happen to know the baking temperature for Cerakote?
I can look it up right now. Hold on, that's the good thing about working on a computer. Baking.
Yeah. The short answer is no, it shouldn't.
Baking temp for Cerakote is generally 250 degrees for 2 hours.
Nah, you'll be fine.
All right, perfect. And then at low temperatures at 150 for for plastics or polymers, a lower temperature is recommended for 2 hours. All right, okay. So
Yeah, 150, you're going to be totally fine.
okay, so
150 degrees.
250. There's all right, because I'm thinking, all right, people that get these and they want to put digi camo or black multicam or whatever crazy colors they want to put on there. Would the heat from applying the Cerakote affect it? So if they're baking at
Yeah.
450 degrees, I'm guessing for people in hot temperatures like Arizona or Florida, people don't got to worry. Don't obviously leave your gun. My concern is, okay, if I left it in the sun for like an hour, would there be any issue? But typically, I'm guessing no.
No, I mean you typically you don't really want to heat cycle plastic too much, but no, like especially 150 degrees, you're not going to have a problem.
Yeah,
This nylon is tough. When we run it, it's like 450 degrees. You're not going to leave your gun on your dash or your car, and it's going to come back and be a puddle in a barrel.
yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Okay. Now, one more final question is with all the plastic stuff that you're getting into with the guns, have you ever kind of looked into the concept of 3D printing any of the parts, like, hand guards or anything like that? Have you ever explored 3D printing for the, have you ever considered 3D printing for a lot of the, or some of the parts on your guns?
Yeah, we use 3D printing for a lot of other applications as prototypes and stuff because the tooling is so expensive.
Okay.
People, you got an idea, you want to make sure it's going to work before you invest. So we use 3D printing. For like receiver, I wouldn't 3D print a receiver. It's just not that strong.
Okay. All right.
It's not going to last you. It's you're going to have a lesser quality component. But I know guys are 3D printing, arm braces and all kinds of cool stuff.
All right. All right. Because I know there are some
with the carry handles and doing things and
yeah, because I know there are some people that a good friend of mine that is a fellow YouTuber. He experiments with carbon fiber nylon, 3D printing that, and I know there's a lot more involved in it. I'm very new to 3D printing. I just do like articulating dragons. I don't really 3D print guns, but with carbon fiber nylon, would you think would that be would be able to withstand it? Because again, a lot of the G36 UMP is polymer. With for the 3D printing crowd out there, I didn't know if you tested anything like that.
No, I haven't tested it. See, our receivers, they're nylon, but it's the 3D printer. Everybody knows that works. Basically, just it's the filament, laying down lines of plastic. On ours, that nylon, the glass filled nylon, is going through the injection molding machine, plasticized, melted down, but it's going into that cavity with 400 tons of pressure.
Oh, okay.
So it is in. So it's in there. It's compacted. It's full. It's a whole different animal than 3D printing.
Okay, all right. I didn't know it involved that much pressure that was going into making it.
Yeah. 400 tons of pressure is what's the holding pressure of those receivers.
That is insane. But like I said at the beginning of the show, the fact that you guys are able to make these clone rifles at an affordable price for a lot of people to actually have it be attainable, because again, you look at a G36 and some of them on the market. So I do a gun broker show every Saturday where we go through gun broker auction sites and stuff like that, and we see what people are selling stuff. I've seen G36 from a couple different manufacturers. They're fully kitted out, all that stuff, and people are asking $6, $7, sometimes $8,000 for these clones. And you're coming in, you can get a full rifle ready to go to the range for
$2,000 and you're done.
$2,000. Like it's 1950 plus a $50 shipping ground and 75 if you 2 days ship it through USPS or UPS. That's very some people you can get a Bren 2 from CZ, or you can't even touch a Scar for under $2,000. So the fact that you're able to do that is I have to commend you that. And also on a personal note, I noticed the merchandise that you guys sell for your t-shirts and hoodies. You sell 4X. So I'm a big dude, and I like the fact that at least you got a 4X size. Yeah, you won me over. You got 4X. Most people, I think I've always said there's this I would say backlash against the huskier gentleman in the industry, and no one makes 4 or 5X, and you make a 4X, sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, you won me over there.
I'm a 3X, brother. I got you covered.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. All right, well, I know we're over the top of the hour. I do appreciate you coming on for you know, just giving us the chance to kind of ask these questions, and you know, I can bring this to my viewers. If you guys want to pick these up, the link is in the description and in the live chat. Please do me a favor in the comment section, tell them just so they know, hey, if you buy it after tonight, it's because I recommended you, just for personal use. But if you have any other things you want to get out there, what people, you know, where people can find you, all that stuff, you got the floor, my man.
Yeah, you know what? If anybody, you know, listener, or whatever, you know, finds out about us from this podcast, shoot me a message. Email me. It's usually the best way, or DM me on Instagram. Email from the website, sales at S5, but we'll hook your listeners up with a discount or something. We'll figure something out.
Nice. I since this is a very like soft core interview or podcast episode, because you know YouTube, they like to shadow ban almost all my stuff, so that's why we had to move to Rumble where we can show guns since this is a live stream. I'm gonna put this up on my YouTube channel for people to see it as well, just so people have the chance. I try not to like put the podcast there just because of the really just pain in the ass it is to post podcasts to YouTube because they're so, you know, against guns over there. That's why we're over here on Rumble, and we want to thank everybody that are watching on Rumble. Yeah, so go ahead, just go ahead and pimp your social media, and we will go ahead. Obviously, before we end, I just want to, you know, we'll chat before we head out, but go ahead, tell people where they can find you.
S5tactical.com. Or you can email me at sales at S5tactical.com. Instagram is S5tactical.com. You know, we're on Facebook as well. Nobody else is, but we do have a presence there.
Hey, I'm not. So I can't. I used to be, and I just kept getting those informations of like, no.
Yeah. When I was on Instagram, they're like, "Hey, you're a business. Do you want to use a business suite?" I said, "Sure," and that put me on Facebook. So I was like, "Whatever."
Hell yeah, we got Hot Dog 990 out there. It says, looks like I'm adding another purchase to my list. Look at that. One, that's what
awesome.
I love. That's why I love Hot Dog 990. Oh yeah, make sure you let them know you know, get yourself a discount here. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead head out. Make sure you guys check out the channel. Check out S5 Tactical. Like I said, links are in the description below to check them out. Check them out on social media. They're making some great stuff. I really love this concept and the fact that they're affordable for anybody to really kind of get into and enjoy a G36. Me, that would probably be a safe clean, and I personally would like to try it in like a 3-gun match just because I'm like, you know, weird like that. But check out S5 Tactical. We have the Gunbroker Browsing Show this Saturday. I'm actually going to be able to get my range back up and running. So I will be at the range this week. So we're probably going to be pushing towards 11:30, 12 this Saturday for those who are usual to the 10:30 a.m. morning show. Probably about 11:30, 12, depending on what time I get back from the range. And we got some cool content coming. Make sure you guys subscribe. And I want to thank you all. As always, stay safe, stay shooting, and we will see you next time. Peace to everybody. And I'm going to make sure this doesn't close.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem.